If we're looking for creating a relationship with a partner or a friend or at work, they are so crucial. And how we make these relationships work for us and how we make sure that we are not being trampled on and that we are getting what we need is by having healthy boundaries. So let's talk about how we can do that in 5 simple and easy steps. Hi guys, how you doing? I hope you're really good. Today we have got 5 tips for creating healthy boundaries in our relationships. So let's get on with it. If you're anything like me and you are an empath, you are naturally very empathetic, you want to help people, you are very loving, you are very open, you're quite emotional and you're quite sensitive, it can be very, very difficult to create healthy boundaries. It can also be super difficult if you have had any sort of issues growing up, which a lot of people have, and so they have maybe not naturally had very good boundaries, and I think a lot of people in this community fall into that bracket. So this is going to be super helpful for you if you fall into any of those categories. So let's get on with it. Okay, number 1 is really important and it takes some practice. Only share what you want to share. So you need to be really, really careful when people say you're at work and you're talking to someone and someone asks you something and you don't want to share that information. You need to be able to say, I'd rather not share that, or change the subject, or find your own way of dealing with it so that you don't overshare. Okay, equally, I've got a friend in mind that says, oh, I don't know why I always do that. I always tell people my whole life story and I didn't want to. And now I feel kind of like, they know everything about me and I don't like it. So just be aware that, you know, you need to be aware of what you are comfortable in sharing and don't overshare with the people that you maybe don't know. You don't know whether you can trust them yet, or you don't know whether you want to share that level of information with them. It's okay to want to keep some things for yourself. It's okay to keep what's inside of you for you and to be selective in how you share it. So just be careful with how you share and who you share your information with. Okay, the second one is probably what most people would have put as the first one, which is say no. Yeah, you've got to start saying no. And you need to practice saying no, because if you are anything like lots of us who are empaths, empathetic, etc., like I said at the beginning, it is extremely difficult to say a healthy and a loving no. And you may need to practice. And I would even say with some people, relationships that you have, sometimes you need to say no, even when you don't really need to say no, because you need to establish that you can't, people can't always expect you to be there for them or to drop your own life for them. So this is about being able to say, right, no, I don't want to do that, or no, that's going too far for me, or no, that's not right for me. So that's what I mean by healthy boundary in regards to saying no. It's about being able to say, no, that's not right for me, or no, what you asked me to do, or what I did, or what happened there went over my boundary. I'm not happy about that. So I'm going to say, I love you, but no. Okay, so that is the second point. So the third point is when someone does just that. They overstep the boundary, they take advantage, or they let you down in some way, and they go over that boundary. So they might disclose a piece of information to somebody else that you definitely said, do not tell anyone this, or please will you not share this with anyone, or they maybe took advantage of you, or they made you wait for 2 hours for them somewhere, you know, and they took advantage, they went over that boundary in whatever way. So you know, this is what's, you know, this is what's right for me, that is what's not right for me, and they crossed into that, that's not right for me. The most important thing is that ideally that you can say what you did, you know, I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but this was not okay for me and I can't have that. However, sometimes that is not very practical or reasonable or possible, you know, particularly in work situations or difficult or sensitive family situations. What you can do is make a mental note of it and don't allow it to happen in the future. So for example, if you have a friend that is always letting you down, they don't turn up, etc., don't organise to meet them somewhere. that means you're stood around waiting. You know, so just be aware. Now, some people would say that's maybe a little passive or evasive, and that you do need to actually confront the situation. But I think we have to be realistic. If you can do that, if you can say, you overstepped my boundary, and it's not a criticism, it's not, I don't want to be unkind, but that wasn't great for me and that hurt me in this way, and I just think you should be aware of that. Fantastic if you can do that. But I think there will be many people watching this video who wouldn't even be able to entertain that possibility. So if you are not able to do that, the way to still keep your boundary is to just note it. Know that, okay, this person's crossed a boundary, so I'm not going to agree to go out with them anymore, or I'm not going to tell them things about myself anymore, or maybe I'm going to choose to actually not be a close friend with that person anymore. I'm not going to tell them that, but I'm just going to withdraw a little from that situation or from that relationship. Number 4 puts the onus on you. You need to be clear and start being even clearer about what you want, about what you need in your life, okay? So you've got to be open and honest. You've got to be prepared to ask people for help and to be clear about, this is what I need, this is what I don't need. So at work, you can say, I'm happy to do this, but this is not ideal for me. So I have situations at work where I will say, for example, someone will ask me to do something and I will say, I will absolutely do that this time. However, I do not feel I'm the right person for this job because it is not ideal for me. It makes me feel particularly stressed, or, you know, this isn't right for me, you know? And understand that within, you know, certain parameters. Obviously you can't pick and choose always what you do at work. I'm not saying that everyone can do that, but you know, you do have to be aware that if it's not possible for you, it's not possible for you, you know, and making yourself do something that is outside of your boundary, that goes against yourself, that cheats yourself, that hurts yourself, is not a good thing. And ultimately the friend, the partner, the family member, the colleague or the boss will ultimately not benefit by you going across your boundary and doing something that you know is not right for you. The main one, number 5, is not to suffer in silence, you know? So become comfortable and aware of your boundary. It's okay to express that you have a limit, that you have things that you're not prepared to accept or you're not prepared to do, and become comfortable with them. You know, yes, we all have to compromise. We know that in relationships, work relationships, family relationships, we have to compromise. But compromise, yes. Pain, no. Suffering in silence, no. You need to become slightly more vocal. I don't mean complaining and telling everybody, you know, somebody, you know, upset me and I'm going to tell everyone. We all know people like that. That's not what I mean. But just being very strong about what is and isn't acceptable for you. And I think quite a lot of you watching may feel like I used to feel, that you actually feel self-conscious about doing that. You actually feel like people are going to judge you and like you less for that. Let me tell you, people will appreciate you more, they will respect you more, because you know this is right for me, this isn't right for me. And that you can be very clear. You're not saying, yes, I will do that job for you, boss or friend, and then it hurts you and it breaks you and you feel like you know, and you do it, but then it has an adverse effect, and then the person maybe feels guilty, or maybe you have to be off sick or whatever. Do you see what I mean? It's about being realistic about yourself and honest about who and what you are, and that shows a healthy respect for you, which then encourages a respect for you from others. So do not be afraid to do that. Become really comfortable with your boundary, yeah? Get clear about it, and don't be ashamed of having a boundary, because it is okay to have them. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. So much love to you, and I'll see you on the next video.